Good morning. Good morning. What's up, folks? What's up, Navy Plum? What's up, Strife? Stock Thunder Polar. I think that's a new name. Welcome. Obsa? I'm going to go with Obsa. Subs. Good morning. Good morning. I hope you guys have the chat open. What's up, Strife? Good morning, buddy. How are you? Let me get my screen sharing going here. That's the one I want to share. Go live with that. What's up, Hunza? Mike Hatch with the Dark Kitty. Alchemy, what's up? That's weird that Sentry shut that down, Hunza. Yeah, good morning. I don't know why. If there's any place that you should be allowed to make an intro, it would be this channel. But I guess Sentry is just on top of all of our Discord channels. What's up, Alchemy? Good morning. All right. I'm realizing one thing I forgot to pull up. Yeah. Sentry's had a little too much coffee this morning. All right. So let's dig in. Hope you guys have been doing well as we have made the march up here to all-time high levels. In fact, I'm noticing that I have forgotten to remove these demand zones that were at one point in the way, now not really in the way. Um, so yeah, we're kind of in all-time high breakout mode at the moment. So a little bit tough to anticipate things. It's going to look a little bit different here on the ES chart, just based on how the ES contracts roll over. Um, we are actually at all-time highs. There's not more kind of resistances or anything for us to test overhead really anymore at this point. I have been kind of looking at SPY. Gosh, where have I been doing that? I think it's on this layout here, where I've been sort of trying to use a few different projections to add to my existing kind of playbook of SPY support and resistance levels. So this might be a better thing to look at for once versus futures. I don't need this extra noise on the chart at the moment. So a lot of this is just different sets of Fibonacci extensions and retracements and all that sort of stuff to try to, again, do the best we can at projecting where we might find some resistances. Now, clearly, I didn't catch this high that we printed yesterday with any of those fib sets, but again, that's not all that surprising. We're kind of taking uh, very well educated guesses at where levels are going to be at this point. Can also use some of the smaller time frames to develop some micro levels, which I'm going to probably have to do very quickly between wrapping up this morning's live stream and uh, getting the SPY plan out this morning. But yeah, I mean, overall, the question I seem to keep getting from people is, when's the pullback going to be? When are we going to pull back? When's that going to happen? A lot of a good deal of that has been from people holding puts currently, which kind of leads me to make a point. And I've talked about this a few times here on these live streams. Make sure that you're really kind of planning, reacting, and executing your plans versus trying to anticipate or predict what the market is going to do. That's really, I think, a habit that uh, is very counterproductive for a lot of newer traders trying to predict things like, oh, we're at all-time highs. It means there's got to be a pullback, right? Like we're making this new high. Why would people start taking profit here? And the answer is, we don't know why, right? I mean, the market clearly is going to do what the market wants to do. So until you start to see some kind of key supports giving way, I'd be very, very careful taking a straight up bearish position, or expecting to play for the downside outside of just putting in maybe some smart hedge positions against an overall long slash bullish portfolio. So, you know, my point in saying all this again is to not be in a rush to try to call the top, because right now we don't really know. We're not going to know until after it's already happened where the top's going to be. Can we take some very, again, well-educated guesses at where we will find resistances as we continue to make this move to the upside? Absolutely. And I think we've used the right tools to do that. Didn't catch this one slight print above this 484.37 level, but I did have this level already mapped out before we ever tested it. Very similar to what we're going to talk about here in NVIDIA, on NVIDIA in a second, except for I think NVIDIA levels have just been a little bit more accurate with how well they've caught support and resistance levels, especially the key ones that have never ever been tested. So, one of the things that I've said to a couple of the folks who've reached out to me, if you want to kind of get a sense for, when the market might be showing some signs of weakness or a possible pullback, just look at some moving averages, right? On smaller time frames, look at the 200 and the 333. They're both generally moving to the upside. They're both oriented over top of each other, 200 on top of the 333. That's overall bullish, right? Even if we look at the 15-minute, 200 is crossed over the 333. If you look at this, we're a little bit overextended, yeah, but I could easily see us, having a small dip, and potentially catching a confluence somewhere around this 481.32 level and that 200 SMA, and that being the thing that triggers the next leg up. Now, you know, that probably has folks saying, "Oh, well, that's my downside opportunity." But a lot of people, were taking puts back here or back here, right? And you've already had more upside and had to go through a whole day of essentially mostly sideways movement as we sort of consolidate and potentially get ready to make the next leg up. Even if you do get a dip back down to here, is that going to be enough to put your position back to the positive? And really, how much, is that the bigger reward opportunity trying to play to that downside, or is the better reward opportunity watching that downside play out and waiting for the buy opportunity should that confluence come about, and playing for that next leg up off of that? I think that's where you've really got the most room at this point. So just try to think about stuff from that perspective, and I think it'll be helpful from again, trying to get too eager to call a top or call a bottom until there's been some sort of confirmation or some actual sign of a reversal, versus just trying to anticipate something that hasn't even started to develop yet. So again, smaller time frames, look at those more lagging indicators from a moving average standpoint. At least that's how I like to look at it. Find what works for you. But again, 200, 333, are those bullish? Are those curling to the upside? By bullish, I mean 200 on top of the 333. In fact, we're getting crossovers now and starting to push for more upside. This would be kind of getting ready to play for downside, right? We've broken below. We're back testing and rejecting those moving averages, pushing us lower. That's the kind of thing that I'd be looking for to start to look to get into puts and ride that momentum down. If you want to look at things on a higher time frame, I would say the 921 EMA combo, if you want to keep things simple, is a very popular one. Sorry, that's not what I meant to do. So if we're just looking at the 921 here, nines over the 21, we're essentially riding that 21 up right now on the hourly chart. You can see something quite similar here on the daily chart, except for it goes back quite a bit more, right? 9 crossed over the 21 back here in November. Never really had anything. I mean, again, could you make some money there? Yeah. Are you playing against the momentum and probably a little bit against where the better opportunity is? Yeah, right. So anyway, just keep those things in mind. Look at those moving averages on those different time frames to kind of help guide you. Because I think the one thing that will do is it will take your bias, right, or your need to try to predict something before it's happened out of the equation. So with that being said, let's get into some trade plan reviews, right? So we just talked about using fib extensions and how those work. Here's a great example of a couple of sets of fib extensions that I've drawn on NVIDIA as it's continued to make its march up to all-time highs. These were all mapped out Sunday evening, plans posted Sunday evening. One of the levels that we projected, a little bit, I guess, anticipated, you might say. I feel like by saying that I'm kind of contradicting myself. Um, Up here at 602.36, that was key resistance yesterday. We got some slight prints above, but overall nothing really confirming and getting really some fairly clean resistance tests very close to or right at that 602.36 level. So from a fib extension perspective, I'd say that that one's playing out very nicely. Also seeing some tests down here at 596.59 and a really clean test. In fact, we ultimately caught the bottom around 590.64 with this fib extension level. That was again part of this overall set that I drew out Sunday. Could have maybe spotted that a little bit as a support and resistance level, but really the thing that put this on the chart for me was um, having it in a set of fib extensions. So NVIDIA is still sideways, but just wanted to touch on again, if you're at all-time highs, right, you're in areas where price action has never developed support and resistance, you have to essentially, and again, I hate to use this word, but essentially predict where resistance that has never been seen before is going to kick in. Fib extensions, trend-based fib extensions are probably your best tool to do that. At least it gives you an educated guess and allows you levels to develop a plan from. And this is a great example of that plan working out very well for us in that, it probably kept us from chasing NVIDIA at a time where it had a pretty decent opportunity, at least based on our educated guess, of pulling back off that, again, untested resistance that we put on the chart Sunday that we just tested for the first time yesterday. So levels playing out very well, but overall, nothing confirmed either to the call or the put side for NVIDIA. So a no trade on this one so far, but just wanted to talk about the levels. Keep your eyes on this one to again give us an opportunity one way or the other here. I would imagine probably today. I mean, it looks like it really might want to push through that 602.36 and go for some upside here. Let me turn the indicators on. That's always helpful. Yeah, I mean, definitely confirms that. Nice bounce there, exactly where I would expect these bounces to be taking place from a Neptune perspective. Um, right at the bottom key area of buying pressure, especially when you've got a confluence there nearby. Yeah, that's a great bounce opportunity. Tesla was another one from the member selected tickers over the weekend. This one would have definitely been tough to trade. Pretty much uh, opened, quick back test down here. Let me just turn off the indicators for a moment of our stop loss average down level to the call side, and then pretty much ran all the way to PT1. Within a couple of 5-minute candles. These are trades I just do not like to chase personally. Again, I'm not a big Tesla options trader. I'll trade shares or Tesla related vehicles, but generally speaking, I just don't go straight into Tesla options. Just a rule I came up with myself ages ago. Um, so anyway, did push one level higher than the first price target I was anticipating, but caught that next level pretty cleanly up there at 217.83. Ultimately did tap PT1 and just absolutely sold off from there though. So again, these are trades that I personally just don't like to chase when essentially as we're waiting for confirmation, even that first candle to close, we're about halfway to the first price target. It really skews the risk reward on the trade in my opinion, and definitely puts me in a position where I'm waiting for some kind of pullback to see how that plays out, and just kind of a really interesting whipsaw amount of volatility. Ultimately, flipping things back bearish though, and pushing to the downside. Tesla, I would say, generally seems to be in quite a bit of a bearish pattern at the moment. Lower highs, lower lows. That's not the kind of thing you want to see if you're a Tesla shareholder. It seems like we're rejecting the 333 here a little bit on the 5 minute going into open, but that could be very temporary. It does look like it's building up some momentum to try to make another push for the upside. So we'll keep an eye on that one. But again, I'd say Tesla ultimately has been a no trade, even though it did run to PT1. That was just kind of too extreme and rapid a move to really be actionable, in my opinion. PayPal is one we've done a couple of plans on. We did this one on last Thursday's live stream where we were looking for, gosh, what a break over this 62. Nope, sorry. Let me spread this out a little bit so I can see these levels better. 6105 is the level we're looking for a break of, with an ultimate target up here at 6345. So if you took this PayPal plan last Thursday, you were at PT3 and then some going into Friday. Absolute beauty of a move, well beyond what I would have anticipated PayPal to do. So yeah, first plan that we did on last Thursday's live stream on it, absolutely smoked that and then some to the upside. And then it wound up back on the member selected tickers that I did over the weekend. So second PayPal trade plan, again, kind of similar scenario that we saw with Tesla. Except for with PayPal, we were up at PT1 and testing it as resistance pre-market. What's up, Chris? Good morning, buddy. Thank you for joining us. Good to see you as always. Yeah, PayPal's absolutely just been a printer up until yesterday. So again, member selected ticker plan, the one that I did on Sunday, we ran right up into PT1 there pre-market and pretty much sold off the whole day after making that really kind of impressive run to the upside. Nice catch, though, of the 200 SMA. Again, PayPal was quite a bit extended to the upside, so definitely needed to pull back. It was a little bit overbought. So nice pullback right into that strength with the 200 crossing over the 333 and pushing us back to the upside. So keep an eye on PayPal. It might try to make another run for the upside here. Do they have? No, that's a little bit away. I was going to say I thought they may have had earnings coming up soon, but that's a few weeks away, so nothing really too pressing there. So again, be careful chasing these. If anything, right, once we start to hit upside price targets, those are price targets because, if we're playing for the upside, that's where I expect us to find resistance. Also, not terrible places to look for potential put entries, but again, make sure that you're not trying to over anticipate, over predict, get some kind of confirmation that momentum is breaking down in your favor if you're going to try to use, uh, you know, a price target as a means to really kind of lasso a rocket ship, blast into the upside. What's up, Merchant? Good morning to you as well. XLF, yeah, we can do a quick recap on XLF for sure. IWM, this was from so NVIDIA, Tesla, PayPal, those were our three member selected tickers. PayPal was from last Thursday. IWM, we also did last Thursday, another one that just absolutely ripped to the upside. A little bit of a dip to the downside here. Didn't quite make it to PT1 either, so creating higher lows here also. Looks like maybe there's a little bit of a trend forming down here. It's not very, if there is one, it's not super clean, actually. I can just tell without even drawing the line on the chart. But anyway, a little bit of a fake out to the downside. Ultimately, did break back out to the upside, caught all three price targets, and is continuing to push higher here on IWM. So, a very impressive move from this one as well. And really, kind of just a matter of time before this one started to catch up with, SPY and QQQ. These, mid cap type stocks, need to participate in the overall market rally if we're going to continue healthy upward momentum and movement. So, IWM plan from last Thursday morning, all upside price targets after maybe one small stop out down here could have made all that money back and then some following the upside plan. Especially if you're still riding, you're way above by at least PT3. So I did get a request for, hey, what's up? Wow, Mary Nosek? I'm gonna go with Mary Nosek. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. All right. So XLF. Navy Plum wanted to do a quick recap of that. XLF. Yeah, this one dipped to the downside. Looked like it was giving us really kind of good confirmation and back tests. I'm surprised we didn't get to PT1. We came close-ish. 30, well, we were 10 cents off. I mean, generally speaking, I say, if you're within 10 cents of a target, that's, a good time to start scaling out. I mean, we saw that yesterday with Apple. My first price target for that trade was a little bit higher. It was also a little bit slow getting into the trade. I think we could have capitalized on that a little bit more, even with the small amount of the move that we caught. But I started scaling out, because it was a pretty immediate move and was already generating, pretty okay returns as far as the percent gain on the contracts was concerned. Um, but we were within a reasonable range. I was like, okay, let's go ahead and secure some profit here. Again, with the market being at all-time high, you do tend to be a little bit more cautious about when profit taking might start because it's a little bit harder to predict. So again, I'm kind of remaining quick to take profit on the upside, at least with my initial few positions that I close out, and then kind of just chasing the trade with stops from there is kind of how I like to approach things when the market's doing what it's currently doing. So anyway, XLF, yeah, got within a reasonable range of that first price target, but I don't know, it's something that trades in the below $50 a share. I expect my accuracy to be a little bit better than that, to tell you the truth, like an actual hit or maybe even pushing below it. So, yeah, interesting little double bottom it caught here, just shy of PT1, has since recovered, broke back above the moving averages here on the 15-minute. Those are all starting to flip back to the bullish side. Neptune's back on the bullish side. Breakout yesterday's come back to back test this 38.01 level so far. Stop loss is a little bit lower down here at 37.82. 100 SMA coming up. So yeah, I mean, I would expect another push from XLF from what it looks like, and over 38, 32 should definitely see PT1, potentially PT2. I feel like this one had some pretty good upside potential if it could break through some of those resistances, although I have to go back super far. I'm not gonna. There we go. Start to see signs of price. Well, yeah, never mind. Not quite close enough. So anyway, yeah, XLF looks like it's ready to continue to push to the upside. So I hope that helps you there, Navy Plum. All right, we've got about 20-ish minutes left. Let's do some new trade plans this morning. Which ones do we have so far? Rum or Very? I don't think I'm familiar with either of these. Rumble Inc. What does Rumble Inc. do? Online neutral video platform? This is a very not descriptive description of what this company does. Interesting move up there. Gosh, this looks. Rumble extends gains pre-market after Barstool Sports. So they're doing something with Barstool that's got them moving pretty significantly. See where that kind of situates. YouTube alternative. Oh, okay. Ugh, what an ugly chart. All right, let's take a look at this other one. We'll pick one of the two, whichever one looks most promising. Very. What does Very do? Veritone. AI. Well, that's a buzzword. I'm surprised they've got any downward momentum at the moment. Any recent target to 2 from 3, so they're getting essentially price downgrades. Ugh, volume is absolutely atrocious on this thing. So yeah, we're not going to do Very. So what was the other one again? Rumble. What was the volume on this one? At least this one's doing generally over 1 million shares traded on volume. So yeah, anything below 1 million, you got to be very careful with. Um, and yeah, Mongo, MDB, we can take a look at that as well for Lenny. Thank you for joining us this morning. TSLY. Yeah, so I'm glad you asked about that. I've really kind of shifted gears from TSLY, and moved a lot of that over to, because there were some new opportunities that came out kind of in a similar vein as what TSLY is doing. And not that I don't like TSLY, but when I started to really adjust my approach to that one, really kind of around what I was anticipating being pretty problematic launch and rollout of this Cybertruck. I think that that's going to be a real drag on Tesla for a while, and it'll be interesting to see how that factors into their earnings report, which is coming up, this week, isn't it? Yeah, tomorrow. What is it? Tomorrow after hours? Yeah, tomorrow after hours. Um, so that'll be really interesting to see how they kind of discuss the Cybertruck on this earnings report coming up tomorrow after hours. But yeah, anyway, so I really reduced my exposure to TSLY pretty significantly. I am kind of interested though in it again now that it's back below, last time I looked, yeah, below $10 a share. So it's kind of looking intriguing for me to maybe add back to that position a little bit just based on kind of getting a good dollar cost average. But QQQY, JEPY, and IWMY, if you're interested in sort of high yield dividend tickers, are kind of the three that I'm really sort of gravitating toward right now. I like them a little bit better because it's a little bit easier. They have the right amount of volatility. The fund is also essentially selling 0-day options, so it's you don't really kind of get stuck in the scenarios of having to swings and of having to swing the positions and getting. And I'm talking really about the fund managers at this point, and getting stuck in a bad short position. But yeah, the index high yield tickers I think are going to be, from what I've seen so far, and I've had QQQ for several months now. It just started trading, I want to say last August, September, something like that. But QQQY, for example, is essentially been paying. I think the most recent dividend was around 67 cents, I think maybe so, somewhere between 67 cents a share or something like that. And that's a monthly dividend. Um, Generally speaking, though, it's been in the 80 cents to $1 range. And generally speaking, from what I've seen, it pays out the dividend, and then the shares ultimately have recouped the dividend payment by the time the next dividend payment rolls around, because they're a little bit more stable, less risk of kind of rapid downside moves, which TSLY is very exposed to. But the other problem with TSLY, as I started to watch how it performed, is if you're short on the call side at the wrong point in time, that could really be problematic. Overall they're making money, but it really limits the gains on TSLY. So anyway, I would diversify, scale out of TSLY, look at those index-based ones a little bit more. All right, so gosh, sorry, I got into a little bit of an aside there. My apologies. All right, let's see if we can't take a quick look at this rum ticker, uh, Rumble, with the Barstool Sports deal in the mix. No, you're good. It was a good question actually. I haven't touched on those in a while. I'm just gonna set a little bit of a range for how we're gonna plan these trades. And this is nothing confirmed yet, but there's definitely something there. Probably do have enough for confirmation here, and I'm guessing about, where's my, there. That's probably what we're gonna get for weekly levels down in this range. Yeah, I wouldn't really call that much of anything. Let's take a look at this real quick. Okay, extension hours looks okay. So let's look at the 24-hour chart. Hide the indicators for a minute. Yeah, big rejection off that weekly level here this morning, although we may have just established that. Wait, I'm getting a little bit out. So, well, I might need some levels a little bit higher though. We do have one right here. I'm going to try to do this as quickly as I can. Nothing confirmed here, but there is an interesting level here, so we'll keep this one on watch. Yeah, that's got a couple touches I need to see there. Sitting in here. Yeah, this is going to be an interesting one. Because essentially we're kind of at all-time lows, really. Yeah, probably sitting right there. Yeah, we might need to go. I'd be interested to see if on an upside move it can make a push up this high. Potentially. We'll see. And yeah, got another daily level right in there. Probably, yeah, nothing else to really work with. So, limited price action. Relatively young ticker, but that's okay. Might need to cut it down to the hourly pretty quickly here, just because of where we're at and the fact that we have not spent much time establishing support and resistance down in this range. This is definitely a 4-hour level, though it's probably a tad lower. Probably sits right about there. Yeah, that's not helpful. Okay. Yeah, we're in this range right here that really has not set many support and resistance levels. So like I said, I have a feeling we're going to have to cut this down to the hourly levels pretty quickly. And if I could do this quick enough, try to get over to Mongo. That's another one. Traded that, I feel like, quite a bit way back in the day. Not a ticker I've looked at or thought about much since. All right, let's cut this down to the hourly. Let's see what we got. Some of these are probably charting a little loosely, which I don't normally do, but time is of the essence. Let's see what's in this little range down here, if anything. Yeah. God, still nothing off of this. It's just all resistance. Let me throw something out there real quick. See. Yeah, nothing Nothing really confirmed on this level. I'm gonna use that one with caution. All right, so let's, whoops. All right. Do we have any old price action through here? We do, a little bit, but probably enough to help with some levels here. Yeah, right about here. Whoops. And yeah, like right there. This is also an interesting bottom that it formed right here. Again, sort of a not enough to really go off of, but interesting bounce off that level. Yeah, I don't think we're going to see anything else because it's all been, price action's been above this range. All right, let's see where that situates us real quick. Yeah, just an area of really, whoops, not a lot of support and resistance, at least what I've seen so far, between this daily and this weekly level, although I think we do have something. Got two little, well, no, yeah, okay, so I think we have one here, and then one sitting right there-ish. All right. No, but I would make a small adjustment to this weekly level. Right about, no, right about, well, there. Yep. Okay. All right. Let's see where that puts us. I think we should be pretty much ready to go. Okay. Golly. Still kind of all over the place with this price action. All right. So I think if we're going to look to do anything with this for the downside, it's going to kick off here around 496. First target down here at this weekly level at 442. Yeah, next target, this daily level at 412. I mean, ultimately, I think it could make a run back to 333, but I think potential for it to create a higher low off 368. I'd be smart in taking profit there. Stop loss average down. Yeah, that pretty much confirms where I was looking at up here at 530. So that would be your downside plan. Upside, trickier, especially with this being a small dollar ticker. I mean, I don't want to rush in with where these rejections are taking place. Let's see what's happened at or around these levels in the past. Whoa, what the hell just happened? Okay. All right. So if we're going to take a shot at this, again, this is, I would say, doesn't fall into the type of tickers that I would, nor I like personally, I probably won't touch this trade plan, just to be honest with everybody. But Doesn't mean you can't and shouldn't. So it wouldn't be a bad one to do with shares. I'm not even sure if it's optionable, but if it is, I don't think I'd touch this thing with options personally. But what I'm seeing is over 639, a shot at 688, then 728 and 780, a reasonable stop loss down there at 601. Yeah, shares, it's kind of very news driven at the moment. The chart overall is pretty uggo. But again, it doesn't mean that it's untradeable. Just not the type of ticker I would really gravitate toward, especially on an options play. Definitely be a shares play. So you have to look in to see if it can be shorted on the share side of things. I'd be shocked if it wasn't. It's probably how anybody's made money on this thing. But yeah, really kind of a news catalyst driven one. So here's the Rumble trade plans, plural. We'd be looking for a break over 639 to play upside targets at 688, 728, and 780 with a stop loss average down at 601. To the downside, looking for a break below 496 with targets at 442, 412, and 368. The stop loss average down at 530. You're very welcome, but you can at the I don't know. Feel like let's not use the word. I don't know why I don't like the word. I don't like the word master being sent in my direction. I feel like I'm in a sex dungeon or something like that. But you're welcome. You're very welcome. I feel like I'm masterful at trade plans, but master maybe I don't know sensei or something. I just feel like that's uh, no, it's okay. I like a good challenge every once in a while. I appreciate your being here and for giving me something to work on. All right, so let's see if we can't take a quick look at MDB real quick before I got to cut over to the SPY plan, which I do need probably a little bit of extra time for today. Really interesting, clean rejection off this weekly level. I haven't looked at MDB in a long time. As I mentioned earlier, overall looks strongly bullish. Interesting area of support in here. Looks like it's probably in a little bit of a supply zone over 426.52. And again, I'm not just picking yesterday's high. That's a weekly level that it hit yesterday and rejected pretty hard over that, though. I do see a good chance at some upside. I don't want to get too caught up on using that pre-market wick right there without looking a little bit more into it. They just had earnings recently, a fairly neutral to bearish reaction. Yeah, over 426. I mean, it could take a shot. Maybe we play it a little bit more conservatively, shoot for like 440, 59. Even more conservatively, 439.01. So somewhere in that $1.50 range. Whoops. Nope, sorry. These are the two that I'm looking at. Or maybe I just didn't have my cursor in a good spot, but yeah, somewhere in this 437.66 to 440.82. Sorry. It's probably where I would be looking to take profit if it can get a break over 426.52. Stop loss for that upside plan would need to be, yeah, probably off of this resistance. That would need to act as support for that trade to still have legs to the upside. I think you could give it room down to 419.42. So kind of a I'll give you sort of this is a very different, quick approach to doing this, but I wanted to at least give a couple of tickers some input uh, on at least a couple of these today. I just want to go back and see. Why trading has a hard time keeping up with that. Trying to shrink and move the chart at the same time. Although I do have a lot of stuff running at once when I'm doing these live streams. I just wonder if it takes a yeah, that's what I was looking for. Yeah, I mean, I think it does take a shot at this daily level or somewhere up in this range. And I haven't looked at this one in a while. It does look like this daily level is just a tiny little bit lower, like right here. I think it takes a shot at that. And probably around where this double top happened. Don't have confirmed level there, but it'd certainly be a reasonable target to use. Probably up here. Let me flag that level. So, just give you a quick upside only look at this back below. Well, shit, you could really. Sorry, I'm going to wind up planning this whole thing out. Anyway, it's going to look like this. I would use that conservative first target, so let's not confuse people. Long position is going to look like this. So over 426.52, 437.66. Again, you could give it a little bit more room if you wanted to. Then 455.45 and 464.01. Stop loss 419.42. I think you could use that same stop loss. Play for the downside below 406.90 with targets at 392.03, 380.49, and then 367.66. So I did kind of throw that one together. I think that's better than shooting at it blind. Maybe not my most well thought out trade plan, but I think a pretty decent one nonetheless. You're very welcome, Lenny. And this is the MDB trade plan. So again, over 426.52, targets at 437.66, 455.45, and 464.01. Stop loss averaged out at 419.42 to the downside, break below 406.90. Targets at 392.03, 380.49, and 367.66. Same stop loss average down there at 419.42. All right, that does it for this morning, folks. I really appreciate you all joining me. I appreciate your ticker requests. Hopefully, we'll see some of these add to the size of our accounts. I'm going to go get the SPY plan for today put together. That'll get posted in the options watch list as it does every morning. So keep your eyes peeled for that to go out here in the next, hopefully, 10 minutes. So with that, as we always say here on the FOMO live stream, plan your trades, trade your plans, go out there, have an amazing trading day, folks. Exactly what Chris said. I will see you guys in the chat. Have a fantastic day. I will see you back here Thursday morning at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I guess I owe Chris a Coke. All right. Have a great day, everybody. Talk to you soon.